Thank you very much for giving me opportunity to interview you for my YouTube channel and podcast.
That's all right. It's fun. It's quite interesting. So yeah, we look forward to it. Having a chat, yeah.
So sorry, I took more time of yours to come.
It's fine. No worries. It's fine. I'm glad to chat. It's fine.
Can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Yeah, sure. I'm Chris Godber. I'm a developer, programmer, do a creative work as well. So I've got a bit of a background as an artist. I do a bit of game dev too, but mostly what I work on is web development for my career, and I do a bit of indie game dev as well. Um, so I mean, in terms of like specific technologies I work with, so I'm mostly a JavaScript developer, I guess. I've been working with React a lot in the last few years, or more recently, I've been sort of specializing a bit more in the niche of Free.js and A-Frame and that sort of thing. I've just been working on an augmented reality app actually on a contract, so that's been interesting. Sort of, yeah, that's a bit of a quick intro, I suppose.
So you are into coding from?
Say again, sorry.
You are into development from?
Yeah. So I studied computing. I've been doing it for a long time, really. Because I'm 35 now, so I've been doing it since I was. I guess I started programming when I was probably about, in some way anyway, when I was about 16, I suppose. And then went to college and university and all that, and yeah, just been doing it ever since. Mostly just doing web development really for most of it. Though I've done a bit of e-learning development as well, so yeah, a bit of all sorts really.
So I'm sure you might have did a lot of projects.
Yeah, I've worked on quite a few diverse range of projects. Yeah, so I worked for a few different companies as well. Like I worked for a games company not long ago doing working on their React application. It's a game called Occupy White Walls. It's like an art game where it's a bit like Minecraft, except you build an art gallery. And they had a React application, which was basically like an online repository for the artwork that's in the game, because you could upload your own artwork and that sort of thing. So I worked on Cultura, which is that side of things, for I think just under 2 years actually. I was one of the main front end developer on that. I'm mostly front end focused in my development work. I guess technically maybe a bit full stack, but I tend to be more front end focused really, to be honest. And yeah, more recently just specializing a bit more in Free.js, A-Frame, that sort of thing as well. So yeah.
So what do you like most in the projects that you already did?
I like projects that have a certain visual aspect, probably. That makes sense because I'm a front end developer, of course. Something that's going to be the projects I've just been working on is basically it's called it's like a model of 3D model of a street in Glasgow. It's for the COP26 thing, and it's basically like you place a model down and it gets access to your camera on your phone. You place a model down, you have like a guided journey. So that was really interesting because it's very visual. There's a lot of interesting challenges, of course, to deal with that. And yeah, most of the time with projects, I like something that has a visual element, I suppose. I like working on projects which I can feel invested in as well. I think I like I like working on projects where I feel like I can understand what the vision is or the goal. Sort of create a sense of meaning in what I'm doing, of course, I guess.
So yeah. What are the technologies you know?
So like I said, most of what I'm doing at the minute is in the JavaScript ecosystem. I have a background a little bit in WordPress development, but I don't really do it that much anymore. And I'm not really a PHP developer. I started off a long time ago when I first started learning coding was Java, but I've not done that for a long time. I mostly obviously HTML and CSS because I'm a web developer. I use obviously there's a lot of libraries and frameworks to get your head around these days. So the main JavaScript library uses React. I do want to learn Vue. I know a little bit of Node and obviously using the package manager. Yeah, and then more recently, like I said, for the last few years, I've sort of been developing my knowledge of, like WebGL JavaScript libraries like Three.js, A-Frame, and yeah, it's sort of interesting to sort of look into more the potential areas of growth of AR and VR and stuff. So I've also worked a bit with e-learning, like I mentioned briefly before. A long time ago, I used to work on Storyline Articulate. I did one of the first jobs was doing that. I also mess around a bit with Unreal Engine too. So, and I have a little bit of a sideline in doing like Twine interactive fictions. So yeah, that's like a sort of broad smattering of what I do, I suppose. In regards to technology, I suppose.
Nice. So you're into front-end development from long time. So I'm sure you might have worked on different user interfaces. So what is the best user interface that you like in the internet other than that you worked on? And what are the functionalities? What are the functionalities that attracted you? And tell me about something that you understand more about front-end.
Okay, so there's a lot of questions there actually. In terms of like a user interface or user experience I like, it's quite a difficult question actually, because generally if it's quite a pain-free experience, then you do I don't know actually. And so I'll get to the second part actually, because I'm struggling to think of a specific example. So the second part was about what do you think helps the user experience, right? Wasn't it?
Yes.
So I guess obviously how ensuring it's going to work across as broad a range of devices as possible is obviously essential these days with responsive design and everything. Obviously. I guess just making visually interesting elements in the page, making it stand out somehow. Obviously, color combinations is always important, and having those color combinations reflect, what the site's trying to communicate. I think increasingly, probably. I guess it depends what sort of site you're making, because for a lot of sites, it's if it's like a brochure site or something, then they tend to have a sort of cookie cutter look, maybe in some respects, because it's it's just like the grouped elements and similar. It's a difficult question actually. I'll go on to the next one actually. So I don't know. I was a bit muddled there with the answer, but yeah. Sorry.
So creative coder. So
yeah.
What are the types that you what are the types and what are the doing something different always? What actually you learned from this?
Yeah. So I like novelty. I think I'm drawn to always learning something new in programming and something interesting, something because I'm quite a visual thinker, I like producing projects which have some aspect of visualization in them. I've worked a lot on little visualization projects in the past. I did not too long ago, I did like a project with Three.js, which was like tracking. It got data from YouGov API and basically fetched that data and then just made like a visual map of cases of COVID cases in the UK. So I like just working on interesting things like that where, it's sort of, I think it's always good to broaden your knowledge as a programmer as well and just experiment and try new things. And it keeps it interesting as well because, I mean, a lot of the time, once you get to a certain level of, knowledge and ability, you want to keep things interesting and progress into the next stage, I suppose. So yeah, I guess that's my answer to the question, I suppose.
Do you have any experience that you cannot forget as a coder?
Say again, sorry.
Do you have any particular experience that you cannot forget as a coder?
Yes. So I mean, this recent project I've been working on has been really interesting. I mean, it's not been without its challenges because though I'm somewhat familiar with Free.js, working with AR, augmented reality, has been a challenge, really, to be honest. Like even just things like because the app I just worked on implements has world tracking, so you place an object, and it gets access to your camera, and you place it. But we actually struggled a bit at first with the tracking system we were using and that. So it was an interesting challenge, and obviously always in terms of like memorable things I've worked on, a Cultura with sticky pixels was a very big thing I worked on. That's a game with a lot of people. It's this game on Steam. It's got a big community behind it. So that was a really formative experience in terms of developer experience. I worked on one of my first like e-learning development jobs was doing redeveloping and designing some e-learning modules for a disability charity, and that was good. And then another one I remember was one of the first jobs actually was working for a disability charity. Well, basically one of the first websites I made outside of college, when I came out of college or whatever, was a website with accessibility as the core functionality, really, because it was for disabled people primarily. So that was quite an interesting experience. But yeah, there's been a few things really, and definitely Cultura was an interesting formative thing to work on because that was, like I said, that was a React application, and I had to develop quite a lot of functionality for that. Like we developed basically an upload form for uploading artwork. So uploading images, previewing images, how they'd look in game. Also integration with Stripe and sort of basic sort of like almost like social network functionality. That site's actually changed a bit now since I'm not there anymore. But so we were on React before, now we've gone into React and Next.js, which is really nice. But yeah, I was glad to work on that. It was really cool and enjoyed it. It got me a lot of experience as well, actually, to be honest. So yeah.
So how fast you can correct the errors that you get you are into the game development?
Yeah, so obviously that's just a part and parcel, isn't it, of being a developer, is running into bugs or errors. So I mean, what I'm trying to do a lot more at the minute is, it's inevitable that you will come across these things of problems and errors. I mean, it's just part of developing anything, really. So I just I'm trying to learn a lot more about good practices in terms of design patterns, architectural patterns, that sort of thing. Really get my knowledge of the sort of deeper levels more better, because then I guess that way you can avoid potential pitfalls. But that's a long process that gets ongoing. In terms of like debugging, I mean, you learn more the more you do the debugging. Obviously I'm a JavaScript developer, so sometimes I will do a console log in several places but I try and not over rely on that, obviously, because that can get very messy as well. All programming is problem solving, isn't it, really? So it's a case of just getting into that mindset of which becomes autopilot for some problems, obviously. Like some problems you'll have seen them a million times before, so you'll just immediately know there's either like I don't know, like someone reference named incorrectly or something like you're declaring a variable wrong or whatever. But like that just comes with time, doesn't it? I think.
So how much time you spend in a day for programming?
Well, at the minute I'm working on a contract. I've got another week left, so it's full time at the minute. So 9:30 till about 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's just a full time job, basically Monday to Friday. It varies. So, but generally speaking, I work Monday to Friday really. So I'm working mostly remote at the minute. I have been for the last few years, which is quite nice. I quite like that. I do occasionally go into the office that I'm working in at the minute, but it's not. It's not like every day. So yeah, yeah.
So 16 to 25 is a big number. So 9 years. So what you learned in this?
35, sorry, not 25. I'm 35. But a lot, obviously. So, I mean, funnily enough, actually, when I was at university, we were taught JavaScript. So this would have been back in 2005. I was in university in Manchester. And we did learn a bit about JavaScript, but it wasn't as prevalent on the web as it is. Obviously, it was used a lot still on the web back in 2005, but JavaScript like is the main language on the web these days. Whereas back when I was at university, so I learned JavaScript back in university, but I never really applied any of it for even a few years. It's only been really in the last maybe 6 or 7 years that I've really tried to get good at JavaScript and learn more about it and get into it more, the different libraries, the frameworks, and everything. So yeah, I mean, I've also learned a lot. Like, and just I think most of the time with coding, it's just like experimenting, playing around, and sort of like we were saying before, like sort of banging your head into problems and then just figuring out from that as a learning experience. Oh, that's how you fix that. And then once you've done that once or maybe even a few times, it sort of gets cemented in your head, So you can sort of go on autopilot for certain things, so that's good, I think.
So what are you other than programmer?
A few things really. I write. I'm a writer. I've got my book here actually. I've just got a copy of it. So I write sort of science fiction. This is a copy of my book. It's called. It's just a compilation of short stories. Something I finished this year. It's Suicide by Computation. It's called. It's available on Amazon actually. So if anyone watches this and they want to pick up a copy. So I do that. I do that in my spare time. It's sort of like these short. It's only something with the short story writing that I've been doing for the last, I guess, 6 years maybe. I guess. Like I got a little bit of a background writing poetry, but I wanted to do more like short stories. Mostly like science fiction, but with a sort of philosophical, surreal turn maybe. I paint, so I'm a painter too, but I'm a bit out of practice at the minute. But I've got a background painting too, like sort of like abstract, semi-abstract paintings with acrylic. Music, I made a bit of music, electronic music in the past. So I have a music project called Broken God, which is electronic music, sort of ambient / experimental electronic music, I suppose. And yeah, like I said, I do the game dev as a hobby, like an indie game dev. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the hobbies I have. So yeah, quite eclectic, I suppose, but I like to keep busy, really. Just keep finding things to be interested in. Of course, I like to read as well, because I'm a writer. So I love film too. So there's that too.
So you worked on gaming projects and you worked on other projects.
Yeah.
So what do you like the most favorite project of yours, and why
Yeah.
why that is your favorite?
Yeah. It's quite a difficult question. I mean, for the gaming stuff, I'm just going to quickly look at my itch. So I recently completed a game which was just an online game for interactive. It's not my favorite, but Noir Knights Vampire, which is like an interactive fiction game. Play in the browser. It's like a vampire game. It's on my itch.io page actually, which is Doctor Noir, as in like dark in French. Itch.io. .itch.io. And then I think I did a game, Nourish Nosferatu, I was quite happy with, which is an Unreal Engine project. That was for a game jam, actually. That was quite cool. I did a mobile game a while ago called Nano Maze, which I was pretty happy with. That was made with Unreal Engine. It's like a robots sort of Pac-Man game. I did that in Unreal Engine. I got it, put it to mobile eventually. It took me a while because it was so difficult, but I got that one out there eventually. I made an old interactive fiction called Glitch, which is quite interesting. You can check all these out on Itch. It's .itch.io. Most of them are free. Nearly all of them are free, actually. You can just pay what you want for them. Game dev is something I carry on working on. I'm working with a publishing company and a writer, actually, on a project, but we're sort of early days still for that. We're sort of ongoing. That's like a space sort of interactive fiction thing, but I don't know if I go on to say much more about that one actually. But yeah, I mean, I can't really pinpoint it to one. I mean, I've been quite busy. I mean, I think with all the projects I do, like you know, obviously you're happy with them to varying degrees because you know, sometimes things are, you know, a lot of the time it comes down to like how much. Sometimes you put more effort into other things. Sometimes you just haven't got the time to. Especially with I mean, one hard thing with the game dev sometimes, especially if you're doing a full-time web dev job, is finding the time in it to put the effort in, because obviously game dev is quite a hard graft in a lot of ways to make something really stand out. But I have benefited from doing all that stuff because it's sort of helped me understand. On some level, like how to you know, develop systems for the games and interactive experiences, I suppose. Like I've done a lot of these other things which are like, I sort of suppose like virtual environments that run in the browser. Like I've done some virtual art gallery things. I did a project called Lockdown Art. Let me just double check the URL. I think it's so during lockdown. I'm in an art group and we did with Play Canvas. We did a lockdown art exhibition, which is basically like a sort of 3D gallery experience that runs in the browser. I worked on that as a sole developer, so that was quite fun. Yeah, it's lockdown-art if you want to check it out, actually. Lockdown-art.com, and it's basically a Play Canvas 3D gallery experience, runs in browser, and yeah, things like that are always fun. And obviously doing stuff like that's helped me like sort of sort of grow my career a bit in terms of like working on WebGL stuff, Free.js programming, and doing what I'm doing now, which is like sort of working on projects for companies doing like Free.js and stuff. So it's been definitely useful to do that stuff. And obviously it's going to become a lot bigger soon because of, I mean, obviously Facebook are investing tons in this metaverse idea, which I'm sure you're aware of, and that's going to, so yeah, it'll be a growth area, won't it, really? So it should be interesting, I guess.
So right now you're working on AR development and 3D browser stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for now, I mean, I'll probably, like I said, most of what I've been working on for the last few years has been React development. Obviously, there's a big demand for React developers, so that's always good. And then, yeah, more recently, I've been, I mean, the Free.js and like WebGL graphic stuff has been more of a hobby of mine for a few years, but it's actually starting to turn into a bit of a nice niche. So I like that. But I did work hard on it. I really like pushed it in the last few years, just learning all that stuff and doing little side projects and stuff. So it's good because it feels like it's sort of starting to pay off a bit now, which is nice. Plus, I enjoy it. I mean, I really enjoy it. This, like, as much as I do enjoy some React development, it's not quite as exciting as doing graphics and visualization and stuff, really, to be honest. I don't. But yeah.
So what you like in yourself as a programmer? What is the best quality that you have? And tell me about the way you
Yeah.
uh, look at the errors that you get or the things that you see on your screen, the way you look.
So you're saying about how I approach coding, right? I guess like how what's the positive
Yeah,
elements to
which
that?
which tells your problem solving ability.
Yeah. So I tend to take quite a methodical approach. I think I tend to be quite creative as well. I try, like in general, I'm quite a creative person, so um, I try and strike a balance between figuring out what's good in terms of good design patterns, having awareness of sort of the best ways and most optimized ways of doing things, which is an ongoing process and it's never perfect, but trying to do that. Obviously, I think I try and have a good approach to detail. I think I'm quite motivated, and if something needs doing, I'll try and get it done as soon as I can. But also trying to, I am very consciously trying to make sure that I document any code that I work on, not to over the top, but like just make sure that it's documented. And obviously, maintainability is important as well. In terms of you don't want to just like accrue a bunch of technical debt from having to. I mean, realistically, sometimes you do have to come to situations where you have to cut corners, but where possible, I just try and avoid that as much as possible, I suppose. But yeah, and obviously, like I was saying before, just trying to learn about paradigms in programming. Obviously that's an ongoing thing. I mean, obviously I use Stack Overflow sometimes, but obviously don't over rely on that, I suppose, too. So I guess that's quite common common knowledge. Don't just over rely on it. It's good to go. It's good as a resource. Stack Overflow is great, but I think there's a way to use it as well. You have to like navigate through it, understand what the example. If you find something that solves your issue, or maybe does, understand how it works first, and then obviously utilize it. I mean, it's a great resource because you will learn things from there which is good. But I think probably one of the worst things you can do is just copy and paste from there and just slap it in. I think you need to try and understand how it's functioning as well under the surface on some level. But yeah, that's that.
So what is game development for you?
So it's mostly for me. I've been doing, like I said, only really small Unreal Engine projects, and I'm using Blueprints. I'm not using C++. I wish I knew C++, but maybe I'll learn it one day. But I've never really got around to it. And also making web-based games. I've been making more JavaScript games recently, so I've programmed them myself with A-Frame, or making using Play Canvas, which I have a subscription to, which is a great engine actually. It's in the cloud. It's quite accessible. You still have to write JavaScript, of course, for the functionality, but it's got like a cloud editor, which is a great feature. So I really like Play Canvas. And then interactive fiction. So I think it's three things for me, game dev, in terms of like the engine stuff I use. So Unreal Engine, Play Canvas, and then my own bespoke sort of JavaScript projects. I probably should have mentioned before, actually, I have my own YouTube channel, Noir Nerd, which is where I sort of do tutorials and showcase game dev and creative coding projects, actually. So I guess for anyone watching, just check it out, I suppose. I've got and that sort of covers more the it's like a mixture of code overviews of projects I worked on, explaining what I've been working on, tutorials. There's a few tutorials, like I did a tutorial recently on creating a sort of 3D solar system in Play Canvas. So it's just from beginning to end, just with explanations of what I'm doing. And so I've been doing that. That's been really useful because it's like I like doing that sort of learning resource for people, helping other people out. So there's everything on there from like sort of using like a charts library for React.js to like like doing a 3D solar system project or something. So yeah, it's a bit varied.
Suicide by computation.
Yeah, Strange name, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Why this name and
So,
what made you to write this book? How much time you took?
well, all in all, it took a few years actually. It's not that long. It's 112 pages, but it's like 9 short stories. I wrote most of it over the last 2 years. Some of the stories though I started a long time ago and then re-edited them a bit. I didn't mention before, I was in Moscow actually for almost 2 years in Russia. So that's where I wrote most of it. I think the title may have been somewhat influenced by COVID and sort of lockdown and everything and sort of the isolation maybe. Also just computation, because I mean, obviously it's quite a strange title, suicide by computation, but I guess the idea, and it's quite a shocking title because obviously suicide is not a nice subject, but really the core, one of the core ideas that's in the book is the idea of technology as a sort of destructive force, maybe, or potentially a destructive force, which obviously is weird because I'm a developer and I'm supposed to be really enthusiastic about it, but obviously you have to see the negatives in it as well sometimes, which is why I use the fiction as a sort of platform for sometimes even. But yeah, that's sort of why, I guess. I was actually going to call it maybe death by computation, but I decided to stick with the original idea. But yeah.
So you worked on a lot of web projects, web-based projects, and I'm sure the mobile applications too.
I've not really worked on like native Android apps or anything like that, or iPhone. No, not really done that. I like so yeah, most of what I worked on's been like like sort of progressive web app stuff, I guess. But no, I've never really worked on specifically like a I don't know, Android app. Although I did do saying that, actually I did the Nano Maze, but that basically that was all created in Unreal, and then I had to do all the build systems to get it to work on Android. That was a learning experience actually. That actually took me ages to get that working, to get the Unreal Engine project all so it would run in an Android phone. That took a long time. And so it's quite funny actually, because Nano Maze 3, I did it as an experiment mostly. It's on Play Store, but it's like, yeah, it was quite a lot of stuff to try and figure out, because from what I remember, because it's been ages ago since I did it, but with Unreal Engine, when you like build it for mobile, it's there's loads of time when one thing's wrong, it just fails. But yeah, it's fun. It's good to learn though.
So how you make things possible?
Sheer bloody mindedness, I suppose, and then also I like building stuff. Like I'm a bit of a like I said, I'm sort of creative. I like tinkering. It's an engineering mindset, isn't it, really? So I have an engineering mindset with the creative side, and just making stuff is fun. Like, just especially with code, because you get to literally make something appear on a screen that you've made come into being, which wouldn't have otherwise existed, which is a really rewarding process actually. So yeah, and it can be frustrating as well, though, to be fair. I mean, obviously, like, it can be, there are moments when you'll feel like banging your head against a brick wall, but definitely when you get something working that you've been working on for a while, it's a very rewarding feeling for sure. So yeah.
Do you remember your first project?
First project? Do you mean like first ever experience of coding? Yeah. Funnily enough, my first experience with coding or scripting was, do you remember this game, Neverwinter Nights? I don't know how old you are, but it's an old game, an RPG. There's a game I used to play on my computer, and this is quite funny, so I'll go into this. So my background when it comes to actually like doing creative stuff on a computer is actually working with the build engine in Duke Nukem 3D, Neverwinter Nights module builder, and messing around with that. So I used to build levels. Duke Nukem, basically, an old FPS game, had this build engine where you could build your own levels, and you could sort of create scripted events and stuff, not with code, but just like with this It's like GUI. And then I got into Neverwinter Nights, I think when I was about 17, I got really into it. And it had this thing called the Module Builder. And you could basically build your own sort of RPG, like Dungeons and Dragons adventures. And as part of that, you could create your own custom events, scripted events and such. So it had this scripting engine, which I think was based on C from what I remember. So I got really heavily into that because I just wanted to make better adventures, better modules. This is probably around about the time I just before I went to college as well to study IT. And yeah, I just got into it that way. And then to the web side of things, I mean, I guess at some point I would have just learned HTML and CSS when I was at college. One of the, I mean, in terms of like really early websites I worked on, they were probably horrendous. I think it was a long time ago. So it was like, I think one of the first things I worked on actually was a GeoCities website. If you could, that's just like really long ago when I was like 14 or something. So yeah, which thankfully doesn't exist anywhere anymore. But you know, like GeoCities was just like what you see is what you get web editor thing, and I think I just made some stupid website about I don't know, Tom Green. I think I was into Tom Green at the time, the comedian. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So basically, my entryway into coding actually was, in a funny way, was actually Neverwinter Nights. It sort of got me interested and hooked in on it. So yeah, quite nerdy, but it's true.
So as a game developer, when you see other games in the market, so what firstly attracts your eyeballs?
Interesting setting, story. One game I've really been getting into recently, I need to start playing it again actually, is Disco Elysium. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but it's like a sort of CRPG role-playing game. It's set in a post-apocalyptic world, and you sort of play a detective with a sort of amnesia, but it's really well written. So I'm really drawn now to setting, good story, obviously good graphics. Graphics are important, but not necessarily. I don't necessarily need like top of the range 3D graphics to get a buzz from a game. Like Disco Elysium, for example, is like it's not really 3D. It's like top down, but it's got a really interesting graphical style. I mean, a lot of the games obviously grew up with, they were like FPS, like Quake, Quake 2, Quake 3, whatever, which I love as well. But yeah, I mean, I try, generally a lot of what I play these days is just any game that I find which looks interesting. Like obviously I worked for indie game dev companies all of Occupy White Walls, so I used to play that a lot. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I'm drawn to anything that seems original, well made, and has an interesting setting.
You wanna create your own game one day or write a book about it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got more ambitions for the game dev to maybe make something a bit bigger. A long time ago, I wanted to make like a space sim game, which I sort of made some early prototype of that, but obviously that's ridiculously ambitious for one developer, so it never really took off. I mean, to be honest, it's more a question of time because obviously maybe one day when I get more time to be able to dedicate to a game project, or try and think of something creatively, really good, and dedicate like, I'm going to do a year on this and not do anything else. And I think that's probably the only way to make a really good game, and especially if you're a solo, because I mean, I think because it's a lot of work to make a game, it's really a lot of work to make a really good one that's gonna be quality will take a long time. So it's probably maybe something I'll do in the future, but for now, the reality is I need to get have money coming in, have income still, so the web and graphics programming stuff is what's bringing in the bacon, as it were. But yeah, I'd like to one day make more games. I mean, like I said, I have got a game project in the works at the minute. I'm working in collaboration with a writer on, but I'll probably be working on that more later this month, actually. But yeah, games take a long time though as well. Like realistically, like to make anything that's half decent, it takes a few years at least, usually. So it's a slow process.
Is there any particular thing that you didn't see in any game that you saw with your eyes that you wanna put or that you wanna make change?
Like you mean like a concept in a game or a sort of
Yeah,
idea?
anything that only you can put that nobody did.
I tried a while ago. I tried to do like a sort of I did this prototype in Unreal Engine, which is basically like a a mind map where you sort of map out your mind. You map out like thoughts and concepts and link them together. I had an idea of doing a 3D visualization tool, which basically did that. I got somewhere with it. So basically, you'd be in this 3D environment. The idea was that you'd have music. You'd be in this sort of 3D environment, and if you wanted to like brainstorm, you could put a node down, which is like a sphere that you can spawn in. You could add nodes to it. It was very basic, the very early prototype I did. And then you'd be able to refer back to that, and then you'd basically just have like an archived version of this brainstorming session. I guess sort of it'll be like what companies will be wanting to do with some like metaverse apps, where you basically got a visualization of a mental space, I guess. I did that like a sort of prototype for that a long time ago, but then I just lost steam on that project, unfortunately. I don't even think all the projects that they're files anymore, but something. I think I'm quite good at like coming up with crazy ideas like that, but a lot of the time the implementation can be really. You can sort of get to the point where you realize the implementation of this is going to be very hard, So. I think an ongoing struggle with developers is like making sure that basically what I'm saying is some side projects are unfortunately destined to die, basically. But you can usually stick the good ones out to the end, I suppose. But yeah.
So gaming industry. So what do you say about it?
What do I think about the gaming industry?
Yeah.
I think it's in an interesting place now. Obviously, there's a lot more people developing games, which I think is all good. I think we're in a sort of golden age in terms of the tools we've got access to. You've got Godber, Unity, Unreal Engine. Like, how many engines are there out there now? So many engines, so many options. You can write everything yourself. You can use an engine. You can I think it's in that sense, like the tooling sense, like game dev is in a really good place because it's so easy to get access to the tools. Most of them are free and they're more advanced than they ever were. I think it's a lot more accessible now. Like I think even when I was messing around to do level design and stuff a long time ago with Duke Nukem, like it was still quite a niche thing, and I think a lot of people probably got into the game design industry, game design industry then from being level designers or doing modding and stuff. Whereas now I think it's a lot easier to find your way in there. I think the indie scene's in a very good place. There's so many interesting games you can find. There's something for everyone. Like if you've got an itch.io or Steam or whatever, like there's a game for everybody. In terms of like the big, I don't really play many AAA games to be honest anymore. Like I do, obviously sometimes I will, but most of the time, most of what I play is like indie games and stuff really. Let's be honest, like actually in the last, because I've been so busy with work, I've not really been playing that many games recently, but I played a bit of the remastered Quake not long ago, which was good. I like that. There's a bit of nostalgia actually in that. But yeah, rambling a bit, sorry.
Is there any particular thing that made you take a long time to fix it?
Particular problems?
Yes.
You mean? Just trying to think. I guess sometimes it doesn't necessarily take a long time to fix, but I know that certainly sometimes, and it's becoming less of a problem actually, but sometimes with CSS, making sure it works and everything can be a bit of a pain. But it's a lot easier now in a lot of ways. It depends what you're working on, but obviously, like and it depends on the code base you're working on. And in a lot of ways, it's a lot more forgiving with CSS these days because you've got obviously things like Bootstrap or Tailwind, which sort of abstract away a lot of the CSS you'd otherwise have to write, I guess, from scratch. And in general, like my knowledge of CSS is fairly good. I guess in terms of like problems that always pop up or are difficult to solve. I mean, sometimes if there's like a Webpack thing, that can be quite difficult to debug, like figure out. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's quite a hard question to answer because it's like, I don't know. I mean, obviously I do come across problems, but it's hard to identify anything specific that comes up quite a lot. Yeah. Sorry, I was a bit rambling.
So, what are the questions that you ask to yourself about gaming and game development?
Is what I'm making? Would I want to play what I'm making? What's the novelty factor?
The questions that you ask to yourself about development.
Yeah. So for game dev, I'd say, is this fun, or is it at least interesting? That's the main things, really. Is there a interesting mechanic at play, or at least a story or assets? I mean, because obviously it's everything. You have to try and hit every sweet spot, with the graphics, the sound. I mean, a lot of the reason I've been focusing a bit more recently on interactive fiction is because it's quite easy to make. I mean, I use Twine, which is very basic interactive fiction engine to use. It's not hard at all. It's quite fast. You can get something that works up pretty fast. It's just it's just HTML at the end of the day. And I'm quite enjoying that. But saying that, I do also enjoy just doing the more abstract sort of like 3D stuff, especially something I've been doing a lot more recently is the JavaScript games and 3D JavaScript games, which can be challenging, especially if you write them from scratch. Obviously, like I said, something like Play Canvas makes it a lot more forgiving. But like I did, I don't know if you know this game jam called JSK 13 Games, but it's like it's a game jam where you have to make a JavaScript game in under 13 kilobytes. So I did a VR entry for that, which was called Superposition, which was definitely challenging because it had to be under 13 kilobytes. Game jams actually are something I really enjoy because they really push you to your limits. Like you've got a set amount of time. Often you have a set theme. I found that really useful to do. So a lot of my games actually have come out of game jams, and I think if anybody is an aspiring game developer, it's something you should definitely do. Like every few months, is do a game jam. You've got maybe 4 days or a week. I mean, with Ludum Dare, it's like I think 3 days. They give you a theme, and you've just got to bang something out as fast as you can in 3 days. So I mean, as long as you've got lots of coffee and it will, then you can usually get it done. But it's a good challenge. It really puts you in the hot spot, and you have to get something done. So that's a good thing to do, I think.
So the projects that you worked on, why do those projects have a demand in the market? Have you ever thought?
I don't really think about that. Well, it's funny actually. Like, I'll just look at my stats because like some of the games that I would expect, some of the games that I think are my better games, aren't necessarily as popular. Like I think, like one of the most popular games I've got on my itch.io is a really stupid game I made called Nazi Zombies, which is like literally a Game Guru project I did in like 1 or 2 nights just as a bit of a joke. But it's just like, yeah. But then saying that, I'm just looking at the numbers here. Torn was quite a popular one. That was quite unique. So that was basically a dating simulator in 3D, but it was set in hell. So you basically have 4 potential suitors, I think it was, and you talk to each one of them. It was a Ludum Dare game, so it was a game jam thing I did over 3 days. But that's in 10 collections on itch.io. It's been viewed about 437 times, so it's quite popular in terms of my stuff. But yeah, it's like it's hard to predict, like, because I don't know exactly. I mean, I try, and most of the games I make have either a sense of humor. They're either quite humorous games, or they're very serious in some ways, or they're like arcade. Like I have 3 basic modes, like so it's either it's like stories, a bit weird, humor, or quite serious sci-fi stuff, I guess. But yeah, in terms of what the market wants, I have no idea. I just have an interesting idea and then just think, well, let's see if I can make this. That's how it usually works. Yeah.
So you're working on the user interface, the front end from long time. You saw a lot of the user interfaces with your eyes. So what do you think that is drawing the attention of the people of the games that you developed, and which age group are connecting with which kind of user interfaces, which front end?
So I mean, it varies. I think probably. I think a lot of time the subject matter is going to change the audience as well. So for the game stuff, my subject matter tends to be, well, more recently it's been vampires. So there were 2 vampire games. The humorous games are probably going to draw a younger audience, I suppose. I had one comment not long ago saying that so I did for the last game I sort of hand drew and painted on a digital app all the sort of artwork for it. I had like a sort of expressionist art style. So I've been doing that a bit more recently just to try and mix my art and game dev, I suppose. But in terms of like what, how to. So what was the question again? I just lost it a bit there. Can you repeat the question again? I just lost my train of thought halfway through.
The age group you gave the answer.
Yeah. So it's really hard. I don't really know, to be honest. Like I've had, I know on my itch.io I created this game called Freak, and I had I think it was a young teenager play it with his dad. He did like a YouTube video, which is quite cool to see. But in truth, I don't actually know. I don't really have the analytics on it. I mean, I'm going to guess, in general, it's your typical, gamer who's into indie games. In general, it's like male 15 to 35, 36, whatever years old, I guess, isn't it, generally speaking. But I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, some of my games have mature themes, that's for sure. So they're not all of them are necessarily developed for younger ones. They're not really. They're not. I mean, some teenagers will be able to get into them, but they're usually either strange, or they have some sort of vaguely adult themes. They're saying that some of them are just arcade games or sort of just exploring an idea. So it varies, but generally speaking, it's more like for like 20 and up, I guess. Yeah. So that's a long-winded answer, but it's a hard question, to be honest.
So yeah, that is what. At last, what do you say about my questioning in this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
What do you say about?
Yeah, no, it's good. You gave me some good questions. You stopped it now, yeah. Recording. Yeah, that was good. That was all good. Got me thinking, yeah.
And have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Yeah, I watched a few of them. Yeah, I've not watched the whole one because I've just been really busy at work. But I did watch. I did watch a few of the ones you put out already. Yeah, I think I was watching one with US software engineer. I watched a bit of that earlier today.
Yeah.
So yeah, which one was I watching? Let's have a look. It was one of a software engineer. So I watched some of that. Yeah, no, it's good. I think it's great what you're doing. Yeah, chatting with Texas 25 experienced software programmer. So yeah, it's good. You're a developer yourself as well. You got a background in programming, it sounded like. But yeah, that's cool. No, I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll give you full permission to do so. Yeah. And I guess just probably the best thing to do would be to link to my YouTube as well, actually. So my Noir Nerd one. I'll send you the link if you want.
Yeah, send me your web links and also
Yeah.
the book link, your book link and
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
website and your social media. I'll put in the description of this video. People who finds our video on YouTube can see the work that you're doing.
Yeah, cheers. I'll send that on. So just send it on Twitter, I suppose. I'll just send it on DM or something.
Yeah. And also,
cool,
can I put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social
Yeah,
media,
yeah,
everywhere
absolutely.
with your permission?
Just go for it. Go for it. It's fine. That's fine. All good.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris, for giving me your time.
Where are you? Where are you, by the way? What part of the world are you in?
I'm from South India. It's the
Right.
state called Telangana. Yeah.
Yeah, it's dark over there as well. It's dark here too.
Yeah, I'm a software engineer. I did masters in software engineering and graduation in computer science and engineering. Just I'm doing these videos and interviews of different country people, not who are into different professions, just to understand what they think about different things, so that when I work in IT industry, I can build the better user interface,
It's a great idea.
front and back end.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I think it's a really good idea. I sort of thought of doing that a while ago, like just talking to like doing a sort of podcast for programmers. It's a great idea, man. So yeah, good luck with it. I think I'm subscribed to your channel actually. I'm pretty sure I did the other day. Just check it, but I'll. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you for that. Anyway, that's cool.
What do you say in your YouTube channel? I saw your YouTube channel.
It's a bit of a mix of things. So it's like mostly code overviews, sort of talking about my game dev projects. So it's a mix of like talking about how I've done stuff, tutorials. I'd started doing some sort of comedy stuff, but I don't really think I want to carry on doing that because I thought it's a bit cringe maybe. But like I did some, mostly it's tutorials really. So it's like everything from like I said, like everything from basic CSS to some JavaScript, vanilla JS, using like the libraries as well, like Play Canvas, Free.js, that sort of thing. I'm sort of specializing in Play Canvas has actually been really popular, so I've sort of started doing that a bit more because those videos got loads of views. They got like actually it's funny because like I did this FPS tutorial for Play Canvas, how to make a basic FPS, which was like a tutorial in a few parts, I think maybe 4 or 5. That became quite popular compared to my other videos, but I don't know, I'm not that happy actually with the end result. But I'm just sort of trying to do more of the Play Canvas stuff because people seem to like that, I guess. And Free.js maybe as well, because that's also good. But yeah.
Yeah, then I'll share your links in the description. People who finds our video can see your work, and I continue doing what you're doing, and I'm sure and
Cheers.
Yeah,
I'll follow your channel. It'll be good to have because it's funny actually, because like you'd think there'd be quite a lot of content for like developer podcasts, like just programmers talking about programming, but there isn't that many actually. Like I know there's loads of channels which sort of do tutorials or like talking about projects and stuff, but there's not that many podcasts for programming. I've not really found many. I've put a few, but so yeah, it's good that you're doing it at least, because like it's quite hard to find it sometimes, really, to be honest.
Sometimes it's good to talk with doctors, police officers, army officers.
No, I saw you done some videos with like I was a veteran or something, or a pilot or something. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, no, definitely, it's not all about talking to geeks, is it? Yeah.
So
all right, well, cheers, man. Have a good evening. I guess just send us over the link when it's online and stuff, I guess.
I'll send you the link once it's uploaded.
Cheers, man. All right.
Yeah. Take
care. Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.